Okay. All right, so let's start out with 2 blocks at the top of your mat. And then we're going to have the pranayama pillow nearby for a little bit later. Always want to have your other stuff within reach. Okay, good. All right, so let's come to the top of the mat. Let's start on the knees. Walk your knees back pretty far away from your blocks. We're going to start with baby down dog. So all 3 thumb knuckles on your blocks, fingers on the inside, and try to really spread across. Actually, before we come to blocks, let's just do hands on the mat for a minute. Turn your hands out like this so that your thumbs are parallel to each other. And you've got to reach a little bit through the thumb to get them to be parallel and spread your fingers. Now, inner spiral your arms. We never do that, but roll biceps toward each other. Okay, good. Lean your body past your shoulder, or your shoulders past your hands a little bit, so you really feel the weight in the thumb knuckle, right where it's coming off the wrist, the first one. And then pressing down through the hands, spread your shoulder blades and pick your ribs up into the shoulder girdle. Then hug the hands in toward each other a little bit. We're purposely engaging the pecs, the chest. You feel that? Okay, good. Now keeping that a little bit, put a soft bend in your elbows. Try to bend elbows out to the side and forward. Suck the pecs, or suck the ribs, excuse me, back a little bit. You feel that a little? Now let your head legitimately hang. Re-straighten your arms, feel thumb to pecs. And spiral your arms the other way, trying to keep a little bit of engagement in your chest. Now that starts opening and making space across the back of the neck and the upper back. Okay. Then let the chest release and drop your ribs down through the shoulder girdle. And then bring it back up. Feel that pressure in the thumb. Feel a little bit in your chest, but then feel your lats and your serratus. Your serratus, the muscles being the ones running down the sides of the ribs as you pull shoulders back a little. Feel all that integrate a little bit. Spread your fingers out. Inner spiral the hands again, or the arms again. Bend the elbows out to the sides with the shoulders a little forward, using the chest. Think collarbone hollow and shoulders rolling a little forward. Purposely engaging the muscles in the chest. Re-straighten the arms. Good. Should even feel a little stretch in the wrist on the thumb side when you do that. Okay, now come to your blocks. You can use all spirals. You can use the chest or disengage the chest with this hand grip. Same hand on the blocks. Thumb on the inside, fingers to the outside. Right? And try to be aware of the hands. Try not to let them die and hold on to your blocks for dear life. Then walk the knees back pretty far. Knees are well behind the hips. Arms are out in front. Think of a down dog. It's a little different. And then try to drop your head down through the arms to the mat. Forehead touching the mat. You have to have your forehead resting on something. So if it doesn't touch the mat, use another block for under the forehead, or a ball, or your pranayama pillow, or something, okay? The idea is that after you start getting the upper arm behind the plane of the head, you're going to start getting a stretch across chest and shoulders. Okay? Try not to squeeze your arms up and together behind the neck. Try to let elbows fall toward the floor. You may even let your blocks tip back a little bit. Find your breath. As you exhale, release glutes, release your low back. Your hips are just hanging down. Ribs are hanging. Now, lift your feet up off the mat for a second. Point the toes. Then spread your toes out. Reach through the ball of the foot. Feel your low belly connect with that. Open the feet apart. Keep the low belly connecting with that. Bring the feet back together. This will make your knees sharp in your mat, so you may want to pad. And bring the toes back down. Keep feet active, feel low belly, hips drop back. Blocks reach forward. Lots of space in the core. Inhale. Then as you exhale, soft bend in your elbows. Let the elbows drop a little toward the mat. Blocks come on their back corner. Ribs come toward thighs. Do it again. Low belly sucks back a little. Feet active. Reach the blocks forward. And then let that go. Inhale, reach in opposite directions with low belly and hands. Get long through the sides of the ribs, side body open. And then exhale, a little bend in the arms. Good. Reach your blocks forward, push down a little with hands from the lats, from the serratus, next to ribs. Low belly in, tailbone under, and pick your ribs up round. Pushing into blocks a little bit, drop your head, pick your ribs up, round the whole spine. Think cat-cow here. Ribs much higher, Judith. Get up there, get up there, get up there. There we go. Inhale. As you exhale, close ribs, suck low belly, and feel like you're rolling the knees in toward each other. Squeeze in on your mat to lift low belly. And then pubic bone back, belly dropping, ribs dropping. One more like that. Low belly sucks in, tailbone turns under, knees get heavy. Ribs come up inside the shoulder blades. Shoulder blades feel like they're coming down around ribs, but then sliding forward, head is dropping. Inhale. Exhale, sucking ribs back, and pubic bone back, drop it back down. Good. Bring it all the way up and walk it forward. Good. So you can also do that with blocks down on second level, right, if you want your head to touch the floor. Okay, staying at the top of the mat this time. Blocks on third level, check in with your hand. Make sure you've got the hand lined up, all three thumb knuckles on the inside edge of your block. Let's start with right foot forward outside the block. Turn your toes out about 45 degrees. Good. And then drop the hips forward into your stretch. You can slide the back knee back a little bit if you want a deeper stretch. Let's start by putting your left block right under the left shoulder, hand on the block the right way. Stiff arm it for a second. Your other arm's doing nothing. You can leave it on the block or move it. You're going to keep that arm straight. You don't usually lock out joints. We're doing it to let the hip and the ribs hang on that side, out of the shoulder girdle. So your shoulder will get pushed up, shoulder blade will slide up the ribs a little bit, but it's because you're hanging down. You should feel a stretch through psoas, front of that left hip. Breathe. Try to spread the right toes out on the mat. Open that knee a little bit. Open the hip, I should say, make space here. Okay, then bring your blocks back to square. Even them up. Hands in the right shape. Elbows hug in a little bit like chaturanga. And see if you can let that hip drop again. Still letting the hip drop out of the ribs even though elbows are hugging in. Okay, put the toes on the mat. If the toes lift, I know you're in the front of the hip. Okay, tuck the back toes. Press into the back leg, lifting the knee, but push into the toes. And pull the heel back at the same time. So you really have an active foot. The heel is pulling back away from low belly on that left side. Lift your right toes up. Spread them out, put it back down, drop the back knee again. Put a little pressure into the right foot to bring your right sitting bone back. So no pulling with upper back. Push into the foot to bring sitting bone back. Leading with the sitting bone, leading with the hips. And to come forward, first start by pulling shoulders back a little bit to help open and lengthen ribs forward. Don't use your back for that, keep the ribs a little in the body. And then feel weight come into this foot and come down deeper into the stretch on the right side. Let the knee open, let the hip open. There should be a lot of space in the front of the hip. Okay, push back with the foot a little bit so that the sitting bone leads back. Pull back with the shoulders to engage the serratus, a little bit of lats. Lift the ribs a touch up if you feel like you're going into your back. If not, let them open. Bring it forward. Weight in the foot helps pin the hip back as you lengthen ribs forward. Start to feel that length in your core. Do it again. Push into the foot to bring hips back. Pull. Stay not that far. You don't have that, not that far. Shoulders come back, ribs forward. Lengthen through your side. Keep the knee open. Feel the weight in the foot as you come back down and to the right. Come into that more. Toes grab the mat. Okay, from here, tuck the back toes, elbows hug in, hands press a little. Push into your back leg, reaching out of the psoas. Push into the front leg to bring the hips up. Turn your toes in a little bit so they're only maybe 10 degrees turned out to the right instead of 45. Stay high in the back toes, really pushing the mat away with the toes. Think of the heel coming past the toes. And then drop your heel down. Push into the toes, activate that foot, drop it down. Keep your toes dropped into the shoulder girdle with shoulders back right now away from yours. Push into the back toes. Drop it back down. Last one. Push into the back toes. Now keep the foot that active. Toes actually grabbing the mat. Drop your left hip forward more. Right hip pulling back a little. Like you're trying to open chest and hips to the right. Right toes grabbing the mat. Feel a lot of weight coming to that right foot. To come back, you're going to pull your low belly back. Lift out of the right hip and roll your left hip open toward me. Like warrior two. Hips are facing me. Then roll your left hip forward, right hip back. So legs stay fairly straight. Push through the right foot, soft the low belly, roll it back. And then again, roll it forward with your left hip. Feel the left toe stay strong. Try not to swivel the foot back there. Roll it open. And then roll it back forward. Good. Now drop into your shoulder girdle with the ribs, and then pick the ribs back up. Drop it down. Use the serratus, little serratus movements. Two more. Drop it down. Pick it up. Find your breath if you've lost it. Inhale. And then exhale as you come up. Pull. Push into the front foot a little. Roll the hips open, staying right. Now drop into the shoulder girdle, getting longer, and pick your ribs up, feel the core. Roll your left hip back forward. Feel like your foot has a lot of weight in it to the right, and then pull ribs forward by pulling shoulders back a little bit, lengthening through the side. Okay, stay to the right, bring your right shoulder up a little bit like you're arcing the left side. Maybe you can even reach that arm forward and look under the arm. Really opening up the right side. Come back to the middle, re-square the hips, bend the front knee, and come all the way back down. Okay. Move the blocks to the side for a second. Hands right next to foot. So right about where the heel is, and turn them a little bit sideways. Okay, drop down into your shoulder girdle there, and then pick it back up. Two more, drop down into the shoulder girdle. Pick it up. Last one, drop down. See if you can come all the way down to your elbows. If that's not going to happen, you can use your blocks. See where your deepest stretch is here. Keep the right toes turned out a bit. Keep dropping the right knee out to the right. Breathe. Pick the ribs up while you're down here by pushing your elbows and bring them forward and down. You can roll over the back toes if you want. One more, pick the ribs up. And then pull back with elbows to bring ribs forward and down. And bring your left hand to where your right elbow is. Right hand goes in front of the right shin. Don't go over the knee, go in front of it. There you go. Elbow out to the side. Your lats, your serratus on that right side are going to help pin that knee back. And you're going to feel like you're leaning forward to bring the ribs forward while you plug the hip back. Notice the foot. Don't let it sickle up off the mat. Keep reaching the inner foot down. Use the foot to help press the hip, right hip back. Left hip forward too. Elbows can pull back a little. Chin in, neck long. Breathe. If you want to add weight, you can tuck the back toes and lift the back leg off the mat. Good. Stay there with the right foot. Bring the right hand forward. Reach as far forward as you can. Left elbow bends near you. And bring it back. Good. Grab your blocks back. Blocks pretty much even with the foot. Push into the back toes. Lift the back heel. So when you do that, keep your weight in the foot and the hands in front. Keep your weight forward and just reach the heel back. You bring your weight back over the foot and then you push back. There's a lot of weight back there. Keep your weight in the front. And then just the leg reaches back. Push through the front foot to bring it up. Good. And now you're going to think of a sort of a chaturanga combined with a lunge. Elbows hug in a little, shoulders back. Keep the chest open. And then start bending the right knee. Bend your elbows, come down, keeping your left side in a plank. And then come right back up. Push with hands and the foot. Do it again. Come down. Left side staying long and bring it right back up. Good job. Keep the right knee open. Right weight in your right foot too. You're maybe a little more right than center. Bring it back up. Last two. Come on down. All the way back up. Maybe you can start putting left hip toward the mat more. Come on down. And bring it all the way up. Good. Last one. You're going to stay low this time. Once you're down, push into the hands. Roll the chest up a little bit. Keep hips dropping. Good. Put the back knee on the ground. Roll over the toes. Bring your hips back. Your front toes can come off the mat. But then reach the ball of the foot forward. Spread your toes out. Try to reach the big toe forward as you suck the low belly back. Your hands can come off your blocks and bend the elbows and drop down as far as you can into that stretch. So take your back rounds now. Breathe. Keep trying to let your hips release back away from your ribs. Heel keeping your place, but let the body drop back. Let your left hip drop back further than the right. Left toes open into the top of the mat. The head hanging. And then bring it back up. Okay, let's move your right block. Heel toe the right foot inside your right block. Block back to the ground. Drop your hips forward. Good. Think of your legs hugging in a little bit and your back knee and your front heel coming to each other and lift up out of your posture, hands off your blocks. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bring your right arm down to your left thigh. Reach the left side longer, getting ready for your twist. Then bring your left elbow to the right kneecap. Hands or knee, outer knee. Hands in prayer, spread the fingers. Bring your prayer down to you've got a 90-degree angle in your wrist. For now, try to drop your left side forward more. I don't care if your left shoulder comes up. Okay, your lat attaches and the lumbar vertebrae comes and attaches under the arm here. So if you let this shoulder rise, let this elbow come a little out and forward, you'll start lengthening the left side more. Let those left ribs open, kind of sitting into your left side for now. A lot of weight in this right foot. This is the one where the balance is. From there, push your backhand into your prayer a little. That'll push the front prayer elbow into knee, and then pull your low belly back, twisting. Breathe. As you exhale, legs hug in, low belly lifts a little to twist you deeper. Try not to come back too far out of it though, stay in the stretch. If you want to add weight, you can tuck toes, lift the back leg, heel reaching back. Try to make a 90-degree angle with that back foot. Good. And bring it back down. Bring your blocks back, come on out of your twist. Sit your hips back, half climb on the front foot. You're going to reach the ball of the foot forward, spread the toes. At the same time, try to reach your sitting bones back. So you're going to, instead of keeping that really rounded shape in the back where the hips are holding and pulling back and you're staying tucked, let your hips drop back. It helps to let your ribs drop forward because as the ribs drop into the shoulder girdle, that starts bringing the pelvic bowl a little. If it won't come, it's probably because your hamstring's too tight. Bend the knee a little and you can drop forward. Bend the knee, bend that front knee a little bit. There you go. Okay, now bring your blocks back. You can go to second level with them if you want. Slide the front foot forward until your shoulders are a little past the wrists. You want to be in the hand, not right above the joint. And then push back with your back foot. Roll the left hip forward. Bend the front knee. Think of straightening the back leg but still rolling the hip forward. So bend that front knee. Dig into the mat with the front heel a little. Pull back with your front hip. Pull back with your low belly. Now sink into the shoulder girdle, then push down through hands and lift your ribs up. Sink a little bit, let shoulders come up. Push down, lift ribs up, and suck your ribs back. Left hip forward more. And now you can sit as deep into your split as you want. Good. Bring it all the way back up. I want you to pull with your low belly, slide the front heel back, and see if you can come all the way back. Good. That's good stuff. That's just a equipment malfunction. All right, let's come back to the top of your mat for second side. Good job. How are we doing? Let's touch hands in between. Tuck your toes. Inner feet touch. Bring your hands to the mat. Walk one knee back at a time for the purpose of getting more of the ball of the foot on the ground. If you bring the knee up a little and then push back without letting the foot slide, you'll get more of the ball of the foot in the mat. And then you put the knee back down as close to the foot as you can, then do the other one. So we got a little foot stretch going. And sit back on that. Just put some of your weight into it. Hands help kind of push you into that stretch. And let's flip the hands backwards. A little bit of stretching in the hands, away from the hands. Keep your fingers facing back. Try to bring the base of the hand, the wrists, wider on your mat than your fingers. If that's not going to happen, that's fine. That deepens the stretch. Then without lifting the base of the hand again, spread your fingers out. Don't take the weight off of it to do that. You should be able to spread your fingers there. If not now, eventually you will. That's a hard thing to do, engage your hands. Then put a baby bend in your elbows. That will increase the stretch in your wrist because it increases the degree of flexion in the wrist. Okay, if you can't bend the elbow, you bring the hands further back. If you don't feel a stretch, you bring the hands further forward. Breathe. Try to keep letting your chest release so your ribs can sink down into the shoulder girdle for now. Just let the belly hang out for the moment. With a little bend in your elbows. Shoulders staying back, head can hang. Putting a decent amount of weight into the hand stretch. Notice if hips are holding because they don't want the stretch to happen. Let it go. Okay. All right, now let's start pushing into the knuckles of the hands. Keep the fingers active, hands spreading, thumb wide, elbows bent. And then first thing you should feel is your shoulder blades sliding around the rib cage as your ribs come back. So pressure in hand starts the movement, not pulling with hips and tailbone. So pressure in hand. Then suck middle abs back. Then let your tailbone turn under because your low belly is sucking back. Try to feel like your toes are trying to push the mat backwards, but your knees are stuck, so they can't go anywhere. That'll help you suck your low belly up more. Okay, keep the head dropped. To come back forward, let's take one breath here first. Inhale. And as you exhale, very softly close your ribs, lift your low belly. Keep the inner feet touching and pushing a little. Toes pushing a little to help you find low belly. Now to come forward, the first thing you're going to do is let go with a huge pull in the core. And then start letting the head, the neck, the thoracic spine between the shoulder blades, or melt forward, between the shoulder blades coming together. Then ribs opening, then roll the low belly forward. pubic bone back. Good, let's go back the other way. Pressure in the hands a little bit, elbows bent, slide shoulder blades, ribs suck back, then middle abs draw, low belly draws, tailbone comes under. Really opening the back by pulling with the front. So let your shoulder blades spread horizontally, let the back muscles open. Start dropping back into the hands, weight comes into the hands, head dropping forward, shoulder blades start coming together, ribs open, low belly forward, pubic bone back. Good, stay here. Roll it, or you can stay back here if you think the stretch is too much in the hand. See if you can stay forward for now. Find the serratus on the right side, the intercostals, all the muscles underneath the right armpit. Roll the hand back, bending at the knuckles. Now getting into more of a hand stretch as you're bending the fingers back. And roll back forward. Left side, same thing. Try to bring your elbow straight back, parallel to the side of the mat like railroad tracks. Keep the thumb open. And then roll back forward. You can shift weight into the left hand if you need to, so you don't have quite as much weight in this stretch as you roll the right hand back. And then roll forward. Last one, left side. Keep the thumb open, roll forward. Right side, you're going to roll back, bring the fingers forward, bend them back a little, and roll all the way down through the hand. Roll it back, come onto the knuckles. Good, so you don't tuck the fingers in, don't squish the fingers, keep them flat. Thumb forward. Roll the left hand back, slide it forward, bending the fingers back a little bit. And then maybe you can roll a little further forward through that stretch and back. And then slide the hand back, come onto knuckles, thumb forward, fingers flat. Good. Bring the hands back, push into the hands, bring the knees up and back. Try not to move the hands back too far. Try to spread the shoulder blades to make space for your knees to come up. Good. And then push into the toes a little bit, lift your heels, still spreading shoulder blades. As your knees come back more, it helps you spread shoulder blades off the back more. Drop the head, breathe. As you exhale, suck your low belly back, drop your heels down. Good, bring your hands back, fingers tented. Feel like you're pulling the earth up into the hand. Now we're going to work the feet a little bit, press into the feet, bring heels high, and then drop the heels back down. One more time, press into the feet. Think of toes trying to lift as you lift heels, then toes grabbing the mat. Think of the hips coming forward, almost pushing heels forward. Knees come back, pushing upper body back. And as you come back down, heels go back, hips go back, upper body follows, knees down. Let your head drape, let your low back release. One more like that. Hips forward, heels forward, knees back, upper body back. Really just working feet and then drop it back. Good. Now see if you can hug the knees in a little bit, but open the heels just a touch. Open the inner foot. Then bring the inner foot back to touch. Feel how that works outer ankle. Lift the pinky side of the foot more. Lift your heels up. Now you're going to try to find balance here. Try to come with 2 fingers on each hand. Suck your low belly back like you've got a little ball in your low belly. Bring the groin muscles in. Hug the knees in toward each other. Low belly sucks up. Don't use the back. Use low belly. And see if you can get a little bit taller. Keep your weight forward. And maybe you can find your prayer here. Elbows wide, fingers spreading, low belly sucking up. Neck is long, chest is soft. Breathe. Bring your hands back to the mat. Walk them forward, spreading fingers. Try not to let knees touch the mat, but drop into the shoulder girdle. Then spread ribs or spread shoulder blades. Bring the ribs back by pushing the hands. Bring the knees back to open the back more. Drop your head. Just one more like that. Drop knees toward the mat. Drop chest into shoulder girdle. Shoulder blades come together. Push into the hands. Bring shoulder blades apart. Bring the knees back. Okay, now bring your hips up and back. You can go straight to standing. Drop your head down through the arms. And just pedal out the feet. Bend the right knee. Let it hang forward. Let the whole hip hang. And then switch. Bend the left. So you're in kind of a short down dog at this point. Okay, come high under the right toes, roll over them, tuck them under in your mat. And then pull the heel back a little, just stretching the toes the other way. And then come on the tips of the toes, come back down. Left foot, same thing, come on to high toes, point, tuck the toes under, pull the heel back. And then roll it back. Good, come high on your toes, bring your knees back down, all the way to the mat. And roll over the toes. Let's take the feet apart a little bit. Knees are really close to each other. That creates an inner spiral in the leg. Feet wider than the mat if you can. Knees almost touching. And then bring your hands forward. Drop into your shoulder girdle. See if you can sit back a little ways like that. Pretty decent stretch in the front of the hips. If you start to tuck and bring the pelvic bowl up, tailbone down, you're going to kill the stretch. So you you've got to drop the belly to the floor, ribs dropping down into the shoulder girdle as you sit back. And you'll feel a little stretch in the front of the hips. And maybe in the top of the feet, open your toes into the mat, and then bring it back forward. At the top, press into hands a little, spread the shoulder blades to lift it up, suck your low belly in, tailbone under, open your toes into the mat, and then curl the toes up, try to pick the tops of the toes up off the mat. Low belly sucking up, then open toes into the mat, pubic bone goes back, try to feel feet connect with low belly, and sit back a little further like that. And come back forward. Let's do the second side. Hands on your blocks. Bring your left foot forward. Turn your left toes out about 45 degrees. So turn them out to the side, away from the mat. Heel is just off the mat. You're pretty wide here. Drop your hips forward. You should have your heel and your blocks pretty much lined up on the same line, on the same plane here, parallel with the top of the mat. Okay, first, take your right block, put it right under the right shoulder. Remember the grip of the hand on the block. It's all three thumb knuckles running the inside of your block. Fingers out to the side. So you have all the metacarpals on the block, the muscles in the hand on the block. And then stiff arm it for now. We'll let you lock the joint. You're going to have a lot of weight in it, so it's safe. As you let hip and ribs hang down out of the shoulder will get driven up. But you're really not engaging the neck. It's because gravity is pulling hip and ribs down. Let your psoas get a stretch there. Other arm is just released. The foot is holding some weight, the left foot. Okay. Take a breath, inhale. Exhale, keep letting this side just hang into that stretch for now. Totally release. Okay, then see if you can even up your blocks. Hug your elbows in a little bit. Keep some engagement in the arms. The tricep is a little bit working because it's pushing blocks away. But then let the hip release again. Let it hang into that stretch again. Okay. Now push into your left foot a little, especially the pinky side, opening your knee. Press back so the sitting bone leads to go back. Not a pull with your upper back. Sitting bone leads, pressing through the foot, not the hands. Hands aren't active. Then pull back with shoulders. Elbows can hug in a little. You're trying to pull the ribs forward as the foot helps pin the pelvic bowl back. You come further forward into your stretch. Okay, good. Do it again. Push with the left foot, especially pinky side, to bring the hips back. Keep that pressure in the foot, but then pull shoulders back, try to bring ribs forward. So you're trying to make space between pelvic bowl and ribs. So pelvic bowl is here, ribs are here, but on the left side. Come back into that stretch. Feel the foot taking the weight and kind of pinning the hip back for you. Elbows are in like chaturanga, chin is in. Push into your left foot to bring the hips back. Sitting bones stay back. Pull back with your lats. If you feel it in your back, then you may need to pick the ribs up a little bit. Pull forward more linear. Drop back into the stretch. Let's lift all the toes on your left foot. Then spread them down, bring them to the mat one at a time. Really opening that knee. Bring your weight a little bit more left. And then push into the left foot to come back. Go pinky side of the foot to outer hip. Then pull back with the left. Bring the chest forward and down. Tuck the back toes. Now without shortening in the psoas, try to reach the heel back. Try to get longer through here. So you're still elbows back, chest open, pulling ribs forward. Then push through the left heel. Good, stay high on your right toes, pushing the mat away with the ball of the foot, grabbing the mat with the toes a little, then drop the heel down. Push with your toes to come up, your ball of your foot, drop it down. Try to use the foot for this, not the whole body piking at the waist and rounding in the upper back. Drop the heel back down. 2 more. Notice the hips are real open too. Drop that right hip forward. If anything, hips are closed, right hip further forward than the left. Last one, bring it up. Drop it back. Good. Stay high, keep the right hip forward, left hip a little back, bend the knees, come back into your stretch. Good, if you need to put the knee down and rest, you can. Okay, and then press back, bring it all the way up. Bring left toes in a little bit now. So they're not turned out to 45, maybe they're only 10 degrees out, maybe they're even parallel with the mat. Roll your right hip forward, left hip back. So you're pushing in the back toes and trying to drop the right hip more forward than the left, like you're going to twist left. Okay? Feel the weight come into your left foot. Don't lean right into your right hand. Stay left. Lean into the left foot. Then roll into the left inner arch of your foot, the index knuckle side. Push into the foot a little. Suck your left low belly back, lifting out of the left hip. Roll the right hip open. So now your hips are open to the right, like you're going to turn into warrior 2, but don't. And then roll the right hip back forward, left hip back. Push into left foot, open up the hips, and then roll it forward. Just try to find that rolling through the hips. It's okay if knees in the front knee, especially is a little bent. Back knee should be able to be straight. But don't change the degree of flexion. So if you are going to have a little bend because you need it for the stretch, that doesn't bend and straighten. If you start bending and straightening, you get real confused. You can keep legs straight, you'll feel just the rolling through the hips. Okay, keep moving through that slowly at your own pace. And we'll end with the right hip forward, left hip back. Drop your chest into the shoulder girdle. Dropping the ribs should help you drop the pelvic bowl a little bit more and deepen the stretch. Then lift your ribs back up. Drop down into the shoulder girdle. Feel that serratus, the last, the shoulder blade sliding along ribs. Slide it back up, ribs in. Drop it back down. Last one. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, drop it down. Release the belly, release the ribs. Okay. End with it up, roll back. With the hip, right hip open, same thing here. Drop chest down into the shoulder girdle. Pick it back up. Drop chest down into the shoulder girdle. Pick it back up. Last one, drop it down. Pick it up. Roll right hip forward. Drop chest forward and down. Bend the left knee. You can turn left toes out again. Come down into your stretch. Get rid of your blocks. Just for a second, don't come too far away. See if you can come down to elbows. Trying to drop the body down inside the groin of the left leg by keeping the knee open right now. Keeping the hip open. You can even lean left. If your left foot starts to really sickle and lift and roll off the ground, you got to activate a little bit of opposition, roll back to the inner foot, but you're still pulling out with the hip. Those go apart, toes active. You may be spreading, but they're on the mat. Move your body weight a little left. Breathe. Okay, let's push down through elbows. Pick the ribs up into the shoulder girdle, and then drop them back down. If you have no room to drop your ribs down, you probably need to be up on maybe one set or two sets of blocks. If you're way up here and you're stuck, it's because you're tight. Your ribs are trying to pull up because your hips can't drop and you're just too tight there. If you don't have any mobility through the shoulder blades, you need to be up higher. Okay, couple more movements through the ribs and shoulder blades. Inhale as you come up for now. Exhale, let your ribs open, front body release, shoulder blades come together. Do it again. Inhale as you come up. Exhale, front body releasing, let your shoulder blades slide together. Inhale as you come up, stay up. Exhale, close your front ribs. Low belly pulling up, ribs pulling up. Then lengthen forward and down. Okay, from there, let's bring your right hand to where the left elbow was. Left arm goes in front of the left shin. So you're pinning the shin back, like you're elbowing the shin back to bring your body forward. Okay, hand gets placed in front, and then elbows bend out to the side. Up in front of the knee, hands flat, fingers spreading. Keep using the lats and straightest on the left side to pin that knee back, but also push into the foot to drag that left hip back, right hip forward. Then ribs open, dropping deeper into that stretch. Really trying to get the left pelvic bowl to come away from the rib cage on that left side. One more breath here. You can add pushing into the back foot, lifting the knee. Good. Push into your hands, bring the back knee down, bring your blocks back.
Too much pressure on the knee and back.
Too much pressure.
It just feels like I'm putting too much here. I'm not forward enough then.
Let me see. Again. Do it again. Come back into it. Okay, arm outside the leg. Yep. Come down with both elbows. Yeah, okay, so your stance is a little long. Bring your front foot back, or your back knee forward, either one. So the question was too much pressure in the back knee. So if your front foot's too far out, you're still kneeling a lot in the back knee.
Yeah.
Bring that front foot back.
Okay.
Get your body weight on top of it, right? So in other words, if this is too far forward, you're not going to be able to put any weight into it. If your hips are almost even with it for right now, say. Yeah. Now come into it. Put your weight here. Bring this arm in front of that leg. Good. Now lean past the leg with both sides. You've got to bend this elbow too. Now pin the knee back. That's it. And bring your weight forward. You got to let that right hip drop forward. Feel weight here.
Okay.
Feel the difference? You were too long in your stance.
Okay.
So you should feel like you're on top of this foot so you can drop your weight into the stretch a little bit, especially as you're learning. Okay? That'll take pressure off the back knee. Anytime this is too far forward and you're back a little, you'll feel weight here. Anytime this hip holds and doesn't want to go into the stretch, you'll feel weight here. Okay? So this hip's got to release. Your weight's gotta come into the left foot. If it's too far forward or you're too tight here, you can't. So foot comes back, body comes forward. And then you roll over the back toes to distribute the weight more through the foot too if you need to. Or you come into the air if you're strong enough. All right, so we're removing the blocks. Okay, or no, getting the blocks back. Good question. When the blocks come back, we're just going to push the hips back with the leg, with the foot. Let your foot come off the ground if you want. Toes spreading. Reach through the ball of the foot. You want to put this third arch horizontally across the middle, metatarsals back into the foot. At the same time, sitting bones reach back. Now you are over this back knee, so there will be some pressure there. Rolling over the toes will decrease that pressure, pushing to the top of the foot a little bit, or you may just need to pad up the knee. Okay? And then you can come to your mat and sit all the way back inside the groin. Let the head drop if you have that stretch. Breathe. Again, if you roll over the tops of the toes, push the toes down a little, heel in a little bit, you'll feel less in the knee. One more breath. Then bring it back up. Hands back to your blocks. Come forward one more time into your stretch. Elbows hugging in. Good. And then tuck the back toes. Now keep your front foot turned out 45 degrees. Reach through the back leg, push into the front leg. Okay, you're going to think plank with the right side. Think chaturanga, okay? Or, well, I guess chaturanga with the right side. But then bend the left knee, okay? So you're going to drop all the way down, keeping the right foot pretty straight, and then push your arms, push through the left foot at the same time. Do it again, drop all the way down, get long through your core. So heel reaching back, shoulders back, ribs open, then bring it up, lift your ribs up into the shoulder girdle, then drop down with ribs, come down and forward, keep the chest open, bring it back up, slide shoulder blades off the back, ribs come up, drop the ribs back down, shoulder blades come together, shoulders back, bring it down, bend elbows. Last one, bring it up, ribs in the body, drop them back down, bend down deeper, reach through the back leg a little. Good job, and move the leg down. Heel toe your left foot inside your blocks now. You're going to end up with the front heel, back knee, both under the hips. So if they were on the same plane, those two would be hip width apart. Okay? Drop your hips forward into the stretch, but then you can roll over the back toes if you want. Feel back knee, front heel pulling toward each other, and groin muscles hug in to lift you a little bit out of your base. Low belly sucks up. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, left hand down to right thigh, and then reach. You're trying to slide this shoulder blade up, off the rib cage on that left side, and lean forward into the stretch. Keep that much length. Bring right elbow to right elbow to left knee, excuse me. Hands in prayer. Back hand will push into the front hand a little. First, let's work on the shoulder coming up a little bit. Your lat attaches into the lumbar vertebrae, and then it comes up and attaches from here, comes all the way across, attaches into the arm. So if you let that shoulder come forward and let the knee push that elbow a little forward, you'll get a lot of length on the right side. Just do that for a minute. Totally release the front of that right hip into the stretch. Very little weight should be in the back leg right now. From there, let's add, to breathe, you should all be breathing. Take a breath. Let's add a little pressure from the back hand into the front hand. And then your right elbow pulling into left knee a little bit to pick your ribs up, leaving the hip forward. Find your breath. And then back out of your twist. Very nice. Let's go ahead and bring it back into half Hanuman. Front leg comes up. You can bring your blocks back to second level. I would rather see a bend in the front knee to bring sitting bones back and flatten the back than a straight leg with this big round. Okay, let's slide forward toward your Hanuman. Tuck the back toes, reach back. Right hip forward, so all that rolling we've been doing through the hips. Right hip forward and under you. Bend the left knee. Try to straighten the back leg, but keep the hip reaching forward. Then drop down into your shoulder girdle. Your shoulders will get driven up, but it's not your neck engaging. It's because you're releasing the serratus. Then pull down with your serratus to bring ribs up. Then suck ribs back a little, keeping the right hip forward. Then drop down. Push down with your hands, bring it up, right hip forward. Good, and then drop to your deeper stretch. Maybe you bend the elbows to keep serratus a little engaged. You can come into a deeper split. Okay. And then bring the back knee down if you want. Slide front foot back, or if you want to go for it, keep the back leg straight, hip rolled forward, suck with low belly. Step back like you're stepping to a down dog. Good, so now you have down dog on blocks. Thumb on the inside, sitting bones up and back. Bring your ribs back out of the shoulder girdle, then head down, shoulders wide again. Inhale. As you exhale, ribs draw in a little. Good, and let's come high on the toes, and then come down slowly over the knees. Good job. How are we doing? Get rid of blocks for the moment. Nobody's dying. Everybody's dying.
I took a little break.
Breaks are good. You can always take a break. You can always go south. You can always modify. The rolling through the hips we're going to play with now. Actually, let's come to elbows and knees. We'll play with the serratus first, then we'll do rolling through the hips. Open your knees as wide as your mat. Toes toward each other but not touching. So you got a little diagonal in with the feet. Okay? So you've got a little external rotation in the hips since the feet are in a little bit, meaning the leg rolled out, right? Which gives you some space in the front of the hip. Okay, keeping that, bring your, and also check in with elbows and knees. Pretty long here. Elbows are in front of shoulders, knees are pretty much under hips. Yeah, a decent amount of distance. Okay? Bring your body forward and your shoulders back. So that means the serratus engaged to pull the shoulder blades down the ribs, drop your head toward the mat. Push down softly through elbows and hands, forearms I should say. Spread the shoulder blades, pick your ribs up, inhale. As you exhale, let your front body release, shoulder blades slide together. Do it again, slide shoulder blades apart. Elbows feel like they're pulling the mat horizontally apart as you bring your ribs up. And then exhale, drop the ribs down, shoulder blades sliding together. Do it again, inhale, bring it up. Exhale, slide the chest back down, shoulder blades come together. Let your low belly release so your pelvic bowl hangs. I'm not crunching the back, I'm just letting it hang with a stretch. Inhale, shoulder blades come apart, ribs come up. Try not to lead with hips gripping. Okay, and then exhale, drop it back down. Now we're going to play with hips a little bit. Inhale here. As you exhale, knees hug in a touch, low belly draws in, and try to turn tailbone under first. Then push into elbows and follow with ribs coming up. Then let pubic bone go back first. Then ribs drop, shoulder blades come together. So try to isolate your core. Do it again. When you bring the hips up this time, curl your toes up. They don't have to lift off the mat, but curl them. So lift your toes, not the top of the foot, just the toes. Yep, try to get the top of the foot flush. Knees hug in a little. Feel how that helps you connect with your low belly. Then pull your tailbone under with the low belly. Then ribs come in, shoulder blades spreading. Then go back the other way. Open your toes into the mat. So think flank, toes open into the mat. And then pubic bone starts going back. Feel how that helps you talk to your low belly a little bit. And then drop the chest into the shoulder girdle. Curl your toes, low belly starts drawing in. Ribs suck in, shoulder blade spread, head drops. Open your toes, pubic bone dropping back, tailbone back, belly dropping, ribs dropping. Good. Okay, let's play with that a little more. Bring your body forward. Go ahead and actually lift your feet. This will make your knees pointier in your mat, so you may need pads, you may need to double up your mat. Keeping the feet just a little off the ground. Curl your toes like you're pointing them. And then break at the ankle, turn toes in toward each other. Suck your low belly up, knees hug in, elbows hug in, ribs up high. Feel low belly, so really round here. Then point the toes, turn the toes out, spread them. Flex feet, pull heels in, drop pelvic bowl down. Feel how that helps you feel low belly in a different way. Do it again. Point toes, roll toes toward each other, low belly sucks up, ribs come up. Good. Turn the feet out, spread the toes, heels hug in, pubic bone back, drop down. You should be able to feel feet connect with low belly a little more there, but the tops of the feet in the ground. Go ahead and sit all the way back. Keep your pelvic bowl low. Try not to curl the tailbone under as you sit back. Elbow stays stuck. Should get your shoulder blade to slide up the ribs a little, pulling ribs open a little bit, stretching you. You can walk elbows back a little if you need to sit further back into your stretch. Forehead can touch the mat. Let's press down a little with elbows. Try to feel the lats and serratus pushing down to just enough to bring the ribs up a little bit. And then inhale. And as you exhale, close your front ribs into the body just by exhaling for as long as you can. Feel all those rib cage depressors inside the ribs, closing the ribs together. And then let that go. Do it again. Inhale, lats wrapping, shoulder blades wrapping down, serratus working a little, ribs coming up. Exhale, close front ribs, hug knees in. Curl toes up, feel your low belly. And then release all of that. Do it again. Inhale, ribs come up, shoulder blades sliding around the sides of the ribs, toes curl up, low belly sucks up, elbows hug in, knees hug in, very engaged. Open toes, let it all go. Last one, inhale, bring it all up. Elbows in, knees in, toes curl, low belly sucks up, ribs suck up. Exhale, stay up there. And then release it all. Very nice. Bring elbows back so they're right under the shoulders. Good. Let's move the ribs over to the left and use your ribs kind of pushing into the left groin, left inner thigh, and let your right hip roll forward a little bit. And then roll across to the right, just moving back and forth between ribs and hips. Try to feel a little rolling through the hips. Moving through there. Kind of let your ribs hang through the middle, hang into the shoulder blades. Stay left. Pick ribs up, pick up low belly round. Drop it back down, go all the way to the right. Pick up ribs, pick up low belly round. Drop it down. Good. Walk your elbows forward a touch. Maybe about 6 inches. Pull back with your elbows to slide up. Try to bring your knees wider. Slide them out to the sides. And then turn your feet out. Inner feet touching the mat. Okay. Shoulders slide forward, so hollowing your collarbone a little bit. Your shoulder blades actually slide up the ribs, collarbone hollowing. Shift your weight into the hands. Let the hips go. The ribs get pulled up because you're pushing through the hands, the arms. A lot of weight in the upper body for this. Hips totally released. Then suck low belly in to try to bring pubic bone forward. Sit back maybe an inch or two. Then watch the roll through the hips. Pubic bone goes back. Belly drops. Ribs drop back down. Just 2 more like that. Come forward. Shoulders way past elbows. You're about mid-forearm with the shoulders. Then shoulders slide forward, hollowing collarbone. Taking weight out of hips, sliding shoulder blades up the back. Ribs then can come up. Low belly sucks in. Feel like you're pulling pubic bone forward, like you're going to slide forward. Sit back maybe an inch. We're going to deepen the stretch. Roll back to where you started from. Belly coming closer to the ground each time. Last one. Bring it forward. Lots of weight in the hands and arms. Shoulders slide forward. Hollow collarbone. Pick the ribs up without hips holding. And low belly draws pubic bone forward, which is different than glute squeezing and pulling back. Okay. Then sit back maybe an inch. And pubic bone rolls back. Belly drops. Ribs drop toward the mat. Stay in your deepest stretch. Breathe. Keep your shoulders rolling back a little. Then bring the feet back in. Push through elbows. Pick your ribs up. And then try to pop the knees back in. Good. And then sit all the way back into child pose. Let's try to have toes tucked. Get a little foot stretch as you sit back into your child pose. But keep your elbows stuck to the mat. So that when you sit back, when ribs meet the thighs, you get the shoulder blades to spread off the back. Drop the head, forehead into the mat. Breathe. Inhale, soft but long. Keep inner feet touching, toes softly pushing the mat away. As you exhale, feel like your groin muscles are rolling in toward each other. Low belly sucking up, ribs pulling up off the thighs. And then let that go. Do that again. Inhale, long, soft, even. Good. Ribs trying to pull up as you exhale, closing front ribs in. Release everything there. One more breath. Inhale, long and soft. Exhale, drop it back down. Good. All right, let's keep the forehead into the mat. Bring your hands back and cup the heels if you can reach the heels. If you can't reach the heels, you can hold back of the thighs, whatever you can reach. Staying heavy on the forehead. Let your shoulder heads drop. Inner feet touch. Then you're going to roll forward toward the top of the head more. You need to bring the head a little more under you. Suck your ribs up, low belly up, but hands still holding heels. Heels pushing into hands, hands pushing into heels. You should have a lot of space between the ribs, the belly, and the thighs. Tuck your chin in more. You look at the top of the head and that more. There you go. Roll forward. That's it. Breathe. As you exhale, close ribs. Suck the ribs up higher. Chin tucks in more. And then sit all the way back. Good. Bring your arms back forward again. Forehead to the mat again. Okay, a little neck stretch. Keep your arms out in front and about as wide as the mat, elbows wide. You're going to roll from your forehead. There's in the way here. Okay, you're going to roll from your forehead all the way to the top of your head, staying pretty heavy on your head the whole time. As you go, try to just bend elbows. Keep a lot of the weight in the head and neck. Calculate how much you want there. Your hands are a stopper. They'll stop you from going too far. Notice if you're really tucking in the hips. Try to let that go a little bit. Shoulders lift up and back, away from the ears, engaging lats and serratus. Breathe. And exhale. Try to see if you can keep chin tucked, roll a little further to the back of the head. If you need more space in the neck, think of your bottom jaw sliding out and the bottom teeth sliding past the top teeth. But keep the chin in toward the sternum. That'll make space in the front of the throat so you can breathe better. Then start dropping pubic bone back, rolling toward the forehead, your chin sort of reaching back like your head is pushing the back forward to roll you all the way back. Okay. You can either do that again or follow me this way. Think of your hands as little inchworms. Look up here. If you don't get it, you're going to bring the base of the hand to the fingers. Put it in the mat, fingers forward, base of the hand to the fingers, and keep walking forward like that until you roll into the deepest neck stretch you can get, rolling toward the back of the head. Once your hands get as far as they can, you pin them in place, basically using the mat to bring the arms behind the point of the head. You're getting a shoulder stretch along with that head neck stretch. Keep the hands there in the mat, but then once the hands are stuck, release your tuck, drop your pubic bone back, getting longer in your core. A little more weight may come into the head. Again, remember, if you can't breathe, you feel like the throat is stuck. Bottom jaw reaches past the tongue. Breathe. Slowly roll back. Use chin reaching back, hands sliding unwillingly along the mat, elbows staying in the air, rolling all the way back. Let's do that one more time.
There's a little jewelry box out. Oh, it's your phone? That's okay. Do you mind turning it off? Yeah, just want to turn it off. I thought it was like a little jewelry box.
Is that an alarm for something?
Yes. Yeah. It's an alarm. We're supposed to be, I don't know what we're supposed to be. What is the time for?
All right, let's do that one more time. Keep forehead in the mat. Fingers on the ground. Inchworm the hands as you come forward. Rolling all the way to the back of the head. Go as far as you can into the neck stretch without overstretching. This is your neck. Be careful. When your hands get to their point where they can reach, really spread fingers out across the mat. Hold them out with the hands, but then drop your hips back, getting long in your core. Breathe. Knees are heavy in the mat. Ribs are open. Don't keep the ribs closed. Shoulders are back a little. As you roll back, reaching back. Keep the neck long by pulling shoulders back. Then hands get stuck. Let the shoulders come forward as you open the sides of the ribs and sit down. Bring your hands all the way back. Come out of that foot stretch if you haven't already. Put the tops of the feet on the mat. Shoulder heads roll forward. Tops of the hands facing up. Just breathe. If you feel like your neck is crunched here, you can just tuck your chin in a little more. And put more the forehead further back on the mat towards the knees. Breathe. And slowly roll it up. Let's go ahead and stretch the shoulders and the spine a little more in a curl by turning around, have a seat, grab your blocks, put them on the mat. Your blocks are going to be about mat width apart, actually, about. Okay, the wider the blocks, the easier this actually is. And if you feel like it's too hard with the blocks, just mix the blocks, no blocks, okay? All 5 fingers on your blocks. So in other words, don't let them come off the front. Whole hand on your block, put thumb and pinky off the side. So pinky on the outside, thumb on the inside for this one. Okay? All right. From there, you're going to start with, you're probably sitting pretty close. You're going to start with a little bend in your elbows, feet fairly close to hips, push into the hands, and just bring your hips to your heels. You're trying to come from the tailbone, sitting bones, that little triangle. And instead of being on the sitting bones, you want the tailbone under you, so you're more toward your sacrum. Tailbone's pointing forward. Sitting bones are in the air. You're not sitting on them anymore at all. And then walk your feet forward so you've got some room to move through your pelvic bowl. Right? Good. Shoulder heads should be rolled forward, elbows wide, and you should feel like your hand is spinning in toward the thumb side of the hand to get the shoulder blades to spread more off the back. At the same time, try to hollow the collarbone so your collarbone feels like it can come away from ribs and ribs can drop back rounding. Don't lean back and open and get into your neck here. And also don't let your neck get squished. Push down into the hands, roll shoulder heads forward, elbows wide. Ribs are back, rounding, but shoulders stay forward, chin and neck stays long. Okay, from here, let's just press into the hands to come up till straight arms, till arms are pretty straight. Base of your hand will lift and you'll get a pretty big wrist stretch there. Why don't you use hips to pull you up. Once you're at the top, very separately, roll to your sitting bones. All the way to sitting bones, off the tail, keep rolling. Then use the shoulder blades, the lats, the ribs. Roll the shoulders under the ribs, opening ribs, middle abs lift, chin stays in. Then roll shoulder heads forward, hips roll back all at once. Then separately bend elbows, elbows go wide, shoulder heads still roll forward. Okay, stay here, keep hands strong, push a little out of it, keep shoulders forward. And then try to just roll on your tailbone heavy. And then low belly and rolling it back. Good, do it again, roll the pubic bone forward. And then low belly and roll it back. Stay real heavy on the tailbone, don't push, don't use a lot of upper body at all. A little pressure in the hands just keeps your place with your upper body. Roll forward. And then low belly draws to roll you back. Just keeping hips real separate from ribs. Don't pressure it forward and you feel like you're going to slide the mat forward. Keep the pelvic bowl back. And you're going to push into hands. Stay rounded, chin in. Once you're all the way up, you slide a little longer. Back of the head, top of the head, reaching forward. Very separately, roll on the sitting bones. Roll the shoulders back, ribs open. Outer spiraling arms. And then roll shoulders forward. Ribs and hips roll back. Try to keep arms straight first. Then bend elbows out to the side, spinning toward the thumb side of the hand. Let's shift your ribs over to the right. Think of a typewriter, floating ribs sliding horizontally to the right without turning or twisting much. Then your knees go left. Now it is a twist, but it's a long twist. Your pelvic bowl is opening away from ribs on that right side. Cross your left foot halfway down your right calf. And then you can put a little extra weight into it, pulling across. Left leg pulling the right leg across to the left. Think of your right hip coming towards your right heel, open and spread the right toes. Push into your left hand, ribs go a little further right, right elbow open more. Right hand almost goes as pulling the block to the ribs, ribs to the block to open that right side more. And then uncross the leg, take the weight off the stretch, bring it up. Let's go the other way. Slide your ribs left, left shoulder head is still forward, but elbow and ribs are trying to reach back through here. Then your knees are going to go right, lift the outer edge of that left foot. Cross your right leg halfway down the shin. Wrap the foot around, and you can use the right leg to pull the left leg further right. Your left hip goes toward the heel, heel to the hip. And then your ribs keep going back. Push with right hand, left shoulder forward, but elbow and ribs going back. You should be getting a lot of length in here. I just pushed it to show you, pick up the hand, but pull that open. Uncross the leg, bring it back up. Push into the hands one last time. Keep those shoulder heads forward. Press. Back of the head gets longer. Roll through hips. Roll the shoulder blades back. Squeeze them together behind ribs. Opening ribs, lifting low belly. And then shoulders forward, hips rolling back, open elbows. Good. Let's come out of that. Turn the hands around. Fingers facing backward. Thumb on the inside, pinky on the back. If you need a break for a minute, let's just come to the mat and take a break. Knuckles tucked under, or fingers tucked under, they're still long. Knuckles on the mat, wrists straight. If you want to counter stretch the hands, you can. We'll do that in a minute. Bring your hips a little further forward. Shoulders forward, and then roll them back. Roll shoulders forward, and then roll them back. Okay, now that is separate from moving the shoulders up and down the ribs. So keep shoulders forward. Think of slouching. Good. And then push down, bringing the ribs back up without rolling shoulders back. So keep them forward. You may need to have more space. Bring your hips further forward. Okay, now slouch, just like you're sitting on the beach. Now keeping shoulders forward, let your ribs sink down. Good, now pushing the knuckles, slide the ribs back up, keeping shoulders forward, and then slide them back down. Good. Okay, notice how that's different than rolling shoulders back and forward. Those are two different movements, right? You can keep the shoulders back and slide down the ribs and up the ribs. Or you can keep the shoulders forward and slide down the ribs or up the ribs eventually, right? All right. Now, let's flatten out the hands again. It'll actually feel good to do the next one. You can either stay on the floor, bending elbows back and wide, or you can come back to your blocks. This will deepen it. Okay, keeping elbows back and wide. If you're at your blocks, if you go straight from doing fingers forward to fingers back, you would need to move your hips a little further forward when you go to fingers back. Okay? Now keep the shoulder heads rolled forward, elbows bend down. You'd like a 90-degree angle between upper arm and lower arm. Eventually, when you have the shoulder stretch, that's pretty much the limit. If you're back further and elbows past wrist, you're going to get a big wrist stretch, but it's going to kill your alignment in the upper body. So you want that 90-degree angle to happen. Elbows out. You're trying to spread shoulder blades, rolling shoulder heads forward, chin in. Now you're going to put a lot of weight in the thumb knuckle of the hand. Keep your ribs rounding back. Your hands feel like they're trying to pull back of the ribs to the blocks. Okay? Let's make sure hips are free. Just roll soft and easy through the pelvic bowl. Keep heavy on the tailbone. Okay, good. Keep it released. Keep a little pressure in the feet. Roll to the inner foot. Now press into the hands to go all the way to straight arms. It eliminates any wrist stretch. Shoulder head stay forward. Now slide the back of the head, top of the head forward more. Sliding out of the shoulder girdle without going shoulders back yet. And roll the top of the sitting bones. Roll the shoulders back, open the chest, outer spiral the arms. Maybe you can even bend elbows in toward each other. Gotta have arms fully outer spiral before you'll be able to do that. Re-straighten arms, roll the shoulder heads forward, hips back, and then chin in. Bend the elbows back. It should feel like you're pulling back of the ribs to the blocks, blocks to the back of the ribs. Feet can push a little to deepen the stretch. Let's do it again. Push into the hands to come up. Don't let the hips out. Roll on your sitting bones. Roll the shoulders back. Open the chest, outer spiral arms, bend them toward each other. Low belly, middle abs lifting. Re-straighten arms, roll shoulders forward, hips roll back. Bend elbows back. Sitting back into your stretch. Shoulder heads are forward. No shrinking in the neck. Bring the ribs over to the right. Your right elbow reaching diagonally back and right knees go left. Left leg comes over, crossing halfway down the shin. Pull the leg across, lift all the toes. Think right hip to right heel as you bring ribs to the right more. And then uncross the left. Let's go back the other way. Bring ribs left. Knees go right. Right leg crossing over. Think left hip to left heel as ribs go further left. Opening between ribs and hips. Shoulder back a little. Uncross, bring it back up. Push into the hands to come up one last time. Roll all the way to the top of the sitting bones. Rolling shoulders back. Outer spiral arms. Maybe elbows bend in. Re-straighten and roll it back. Good. Hands to the mat again. Good. Tuck the fingers under. Okay, keep the thumb wide. Feet under knees. If you want to go for a bigger stretch, you're going to roll shoulders back. Bring hips up and open the chest. But then drop hips a little. Release glutes, knees hug in. Roll shoulders forward. Come all the way back down. Good. And then flatten out the hands. Roll back. Fingers and back forward. Okay, let's get rid of your blocks. Open the knees out to the side, Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together, elbows in front of the shins. You're going to be pretty long here, maybe 2 feet or a foot and a half between the pubis, the front of the pelvic bowl, and the heels. Elbows in front of the shins. Ball of the foot touching, heel touching, but toes opening. Drop your head forward. Let your shoulders round forward for now a little bit. Feel like your heels are reaching into each other, toes pulling apart. Inhale. As you exhale, the feet are softly pushing the mat forward and your low belly sucks back. So you're just rounding deeper or making some space in your low back by lifting low belly. Then go the other way. Pull back with your elbows on your shins a little. Shoulders slide back. Keep the low belly. And try to feel like you're pulling ribs forward a touch. Go the other way. Keep that inner foot trying to come into each other. Maybe even lift ankle bone off the floor. Feet push forward a little. Low belly sucks back. Inhale. Exhale here. Keep sucking low belly back. Keep shoulder heads rolled, head hanging. And when you're empty, pull back with your lats serratus. Shoulders coming back. Ribs coming forward. Toes still open. Heels still reaching. Last one. Low belly coming back. Shoulders dropping forward. Inhale. Exhale, pull back with elbows, serratus, shoulders come back, ribs come forward. And bring it all the way. Good. Bring the knees in. Let's grab your pranayama set and put it right behind your low back. And then you're going to lay over the pillow. Once you're there, lift hips, bring them a little further forward. So a little bit more of your hips are under, tailbone is under you on the mat, low belly hollowed out a little. Let's let palms face up, arms out to the side. Inhale, let the ribs open. Exhale, just release. Just let your chest open for a minute. Do it again. Inhale, shoulders roll back a little. Exhale, you can roll shoulders forward a touch, feel ribs drop in, and then let back. Let's start sliding the arms along the mat, bring them overhead. Chin down, and turn so palms face in. Try to put the hands flat into each other up there. Inhale, ribs will open a little. And then as you exhale, bring your arms up. Palms still touching. Good. Interlace the fingers, make a little gun shape with your hands. Outer spiral arms reach through the thumb side of the hand and bring your shoulder blades up next to the ribs. You're going to get into your chest a little here, that's fine. I want you to feel the muscles that attach, those pecs attached to the collarbone. And then inhale. As you exhale, very softly feel ribs close in, reach arms up. And then let go of hips, still flexing the hips. And then drop the arms back. Biceps will scrape along the sides of the face. Let your ribs open, inhale. Exhale, start softly drawing ribs in, bring arms back up, reaching. Release your back, release your hips. Let everything go at the top, let your shoulders slide back down. Shoulder blades come around your pillow now. Okay, bring the hands apart, a little different feel. Keep shoulders dropped around the pillow. Bring the arms back, chin down. Inhale, ribs open. This time as you pull up, don't close your ribs. Feel low belly draw. Feel the shoulder blades still squeezing in on the pillow. And try to feel those transverse abdominals that attach to the top of the pelvic bowl, bottom of the ribs. Keep space between ribs and pelvis. As you bring arms up, they stay low in the shoulder girdle. Shoulder blades squeezing your pillow like a curl bar. That's your point of contact, and arms come up. And then release at the top. Let's do that again. Reach the arms up first, shoulder blades sliding off the back, and then just drop them down. Release the front body, inhale. Keeping that air in, keeping shoulders dropped, drop the arms back, palms facing in. Ribs open a little bit more, feel shoulder blades squeeze in on your pillow a little. And then release the breath. Another round of breath, inhale while you're back here. Feel the ribs open, shoulders wrap around your pillow. Low belly sucks a little bit. Draw the arms forward from low belly and lats. Shoulder blades staying on the pillow. And then release the top. Good. Roll over to one side. Grab the loop of your pillow, pull it out from under you. And let's put it under the hips instead. Okay. Your pillow should be under the hips. If you worked pretty hard, you could drop the tailbone forward off the pillow. You could push with feet to drop pelvic bowl off the top of the pillow. So you're really teetering on top of the pillow. You could go either way. Make sure you could drop forward. Tailbone won't touch the ground, but it may feel like it's coming close. Okay? From there, we're going to bring the knees together, but heel toe your feet as wide as you can, and end up with heels wider than toes. Bring your arms up, chin down. Inhale. As you exhale, keep rolling knees in toward each other. Lift your toes, but keep the ball of the foot on the ground and heels on the ground, and try to draw low belly in a little. Slide your right knee down the inside of the left shin, dropping that right knee in and down. Should help you feel the low belly a little. Now drop your right arm back. You should feel a little bit of low belly psoas and a little length on the right side. Bring the right arm back up, bring the right knee back up. Okay. Let's slowly slide left knee down the inside of the right shin. Right knee stays in, because the shin has to stay there. Left arm goes back, right arm reaches up and forward, or up. So lengthen the left side. Lift the toes, bring it back up. You guys feel that low belly stretch, the hips opening a little bit in the front? Okay, slide right knee down the inside of the left shin, right arm going back. Left knee stays in, lift the toes, reach the left arm up a little. That left shoulder blade sliding up. The shoulder blades are really doing opposite things here. Bring it back up with the arm and the leg. Slide the left arm back, left shoulder blade sliding up the side of the ribs a little as left knee goes forward and in, sliding down right shin, right leg hugging in too so you can feel that low belly. And then slide it back up. Good. A little pressure in the feet. Bring one knee in at a time. Hold on to the knees, just the kneecaps. Let the knees open and just fall forward. Toes open, roll shoulders back as you inhale, outer spiral arms, ribs open. Exhale, inner spiral arms. Drop your ribs in, let your knees fall further forward. One more like that, roll shoulders open, outer spiral arms, ribs lift. Let the feet release. Exhale, roll shoulders forward, ribs in. Hips releasing more, and bring it back. Let's take happy baby with the legs, but instead of holding tops of the feet, bring hands under and cup heels. Elbows open out to the sides, let your lower back release. Let go of the right leg, drop it forward. Right arm overhead, keep your left foot in toe, and reach that right side. Let the hip drop further forward. You can push to the back of the neck and head a little to reach the hip more. Bring it back in. Arm under the leg, cup the heel, flex the foot a little, left foot comes forward. Reach the left side. Really holding that right heel. The right heel reaches into the hand pulls into heel, reach the left side longer. And bring it back in. Very nice. Let the feet come down one at a time. Push your bolster to the tip of the tailbone. Let your low back release. A little rounded in the low belly, concave in the low belly. Knees come in. Keep the hips separate. Move side to side. Circle through. Alright, let's keep the knees open. Elbows toward the mat. Drop the right knee forward and right. The right foot kind of dropping toward the mat. Your right elbow will be off the mat. Give your right shoulder a lot of room to reach and slide that shoulder blade forward. At the same time, your low belly pulls across to the left. And pull with the arms to bring it back. Your left hand pulls the left leg forward. Let that left shoulder blade slide forward. The left foot comes out a little, so you've got a 90-degree angle. The weight of the lower part of the leg dropping down gives an inner rotation to the legs. You feel stretching outer hip. All your weight should be in your hand. Okay? Low belly pulling back to the right. You should feel stretch in the outer hip. Little one. Bring it back. Or maybe bigger. Okay, one more each side. Drop that right knee to the right. Right foot open. Right hand holding. Low belly pulls across left. Bring it back. Drop the left knee out. Left foot open. Shoulder blade off the back. Low belly pulls across right. And brings it back. Okay, bring the knees in. Roll your bolster down to the calves. Feet should be sort of dangling in the air here. Okay. Now feel some weight in the feet. Palms facing up. You make whatever adjustments you feel like you've got left to make. Inhale, let the ribs open. Exhale, release, soft but long. Try to feel heavy in the outer arches of the feet, heavy in the pinky side of the foot, inner foot long. Try to feel a little bit of space between the toes. Feet open and release. Ankle joints having space and 60 degrees. Try to feel the muscles in the lower legs there released, hanging off the bone. Feel like the knee is soft, open, spacious. Space under the toe. In all directions around the knee. Feel your quads soften away from the knees, away from the front of the hips. Hamstrings hang off the femur. Low belly soften, sitting bones are apart, no squeezing glutes. Inhale, soft but long here. Keep that whole low body moving. As you exhale, very softly roll your shoulder heads forward off the mat so your ribs can sink and the back ribs feel a little heavier, and then just release that, let it down. Feel your low belly sink away from the front of the hips. Inhale, soft but long again. Hold the air in at the top, release the neck, the chest, collarbone area, even the sides and front of the neck. Chin really lift a little. And let the air leak out slowly. Try to feel soft in the muscles in the tops of the shoulders. Try to feel space through the shoulder joint and across the chest, right where the collarbone is. Upper forearms heavy in the mat. Biceps releasing away from the shoulder joint. Biceps hanging heavy in the mat. Elbow joint spacious, soft. Muscles in the forearms release. Feel like the wrists have space in them. Hand and forearm don't even move. There's so much space between hand and forearm. The wrist and joints. I feel like there's a heavy lead marble in the palm of the hand, weighing the hand down, fingers soft and open. Inhale soft but long again. As you let the air leak out this time, let your eyes roll into the back of the head in the middle of the forehead where the third eye lives. Softening facial muscles, try to feel spreading across the brow, across the bridge of the nose, across the base of the skull between the ears or the jaws, and across the base of the tongue where it connects into the skull. Inhale again. Same releasing, same sequence of releasing facial muscles, eyes rolling back, toes spreading. Take a couple more breaths like this on your own. Ready for moves. Deep breath in through the nose when you're ready. Really inflate the lungs, ribs opening, hold the air in. Sigh it out. Open the hands. Open toes, turn the feet out into a flexion. Groin muscles facing the ceiling. Inhale, bring arms up overhead. As you exhale, close hands into fist point, toes, roll the legs in, groin muscles hugging and low belly sinking. And then roll back out, open hands, open toes. Inhale, reach through heels. Exhale, roll in with groin, squeeze hands into fists. Low belly in. And let it go. You can either bend the knees, tent, roll over to one side on shoulders stacking hips, and make your way to sitting. Or you can reintegrate the body. And roll out by reaching arms forward into the chest, to the belly in, and through the sink. Let's all just kind of fold forward for a breath or two. Hold out our feet, keeping the leg over the bolster is nice, or you can get rid of it, sitting bones apart. Stretch it out, release again. Try to hold out our feet if you can reach there, and pull back on outer feet. Do your low belly drawing, sitting bones back. Shoulders pull back a little to bring ribs forward. Think of collarbone going forward now. You can be done now if you want, or you can stay for an L. We'll either sit on your front on the pillow to lift the hips and make it easy for you to be long through the spine through your L, or you can sit flat if you feel like it's easy. If you feel like your pelvic bone gets pushed back, and try to elevate the hips. Okay, find an easy, comfortable seat. Spine long. Feeling grounded. Inhale long and even, let the ribs flare. Hold them open for a second. At the beginning of the breath, start with an ah sound, releasing facial muscles. Go to ooh after that. Have enough breath for to vibrate through your core as you completely empty lungs. And try to lift pelvic floor, flare ribs back open while you're empty. And then just gasp for air at the end. Same spiel every time. You get used to it. Here we go. Inhale. Middle of the forehead in prayer with the third eye lids. Bow your head in, release the spine one last time. Let your middle back drop back. Feeling your practice. And begin with your coming. How do you guys feel? Good? Question? Comment? Maybe a question about the knee? back knee. Whenever we're forward in any kind of lunge or anything where your back knee is down, you bring the hips back, a lot of weight in the knee, right? You come forward, especially for what we're doing, we're trying to keep this wide, right? We're trying to make space here. So as you come forward, for that one anyway, if you keep the space here and you put your weight above the foot, you feel a lot of weight in this foot and very little in the back knee. It's almost like you're dragging out of that front foot. Then as we move further, we'll have the leg in closer and do different things where you're in closer. But right now, with that, the space we're making today, keeping this open, you want to come over the foot more, right? And so your weight is helping drop you into that stretch. If you're back here, a lot of weight in the knee, not very much weight here. In the foot, yeah, you should feel real heavy in the foot on that.